Hello. Some of you may have seen my review and other reviews of the associated SC28 and RC28, RC28T, and the MT28. They're all basically the same car. They just have different body mounts on them, essentially, and different bodies, different wheels and tires. But basically, they're all the same car. They're all the same chassis, like you see here, which is made by Exceed. Basically, Associated rebranded these cars. So one of my biggest criticisms of these cars is that they don't really have any real front suspension. Those of you that are familiar with these will know that in the front they basically have these living hinge type front suspension arms that are just mounted or molded really into the front bulkhead. They have a little bit of give to them. I guess the upside of it is that it's really durable, but I think it probably is affecting the handling. The back of the cars has a suspension that kind of reminds me of like a grasshopper or something, with a solid rear axle that can go up and down and actually can twist side to side somewhat. It's pretty decent. It's got some compliance to it, but you can see the front is just really stiff. So one of the first things I wanted to do with this car, since I like modding things, is to come up with some real front suspension for it. So again, what I did was I started with the stock front suspension, which you can see a piece here. I bought a spare one, and basically then what I did was I copied the center bulkhead to be 3D printed, so I didn't hollow it out. It's more or less just solid, but has all the same holes and cutouts that the stock one has. And then in the back it has this little support, which is actually for the steering rack. And I essentially cut the arms off of it and then designed arms that would be separate, that would have this same mounting here for the other suspension components, and then added shock mounts to it. So basically what I came up with is shown here. Again, keeping the same overall size and shape of the stock one. You can see them here sort of side by side. But what I did was I designed it to be used with the Exceed front shocks. The Exceed shocks off the back of the car, and those are actually available directly from Exceed. I think a pair of these shocks with the springs is literally like a few bucks, maybe five or $6 at most. So I designed it to use those off-the-shelf shocks that are already used on the Exceed cars. But then, as I said, I added the pivots to them. I designed little shock towers that sort of look a bit like a shock tower off, like, say, an RC10. And so if we pull off the body here, this wasn't really bolted together, it was just kind of stuck together here, is that you see the assembly here. So again, in the middle is a bulkhead that has all the same mounting holes and slots and everything as the stock ones, but then I just sort of separated the arms. I gave it some pivots, and then put essentially matching pivots on the arms, and then I put the features on the outside that could match up with the other suspension components here. And it uses some really tiny hardware. I think these are number 1 and number 0 screws. I still need to get some nuts for the top of the shocks, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. I haven't ran it yet. I need to actually put this one together. I'm expecting it to work pretty well and have a lot of durability compared to the, at least have reasonable amount of durability. It probably won't be as bomb-proof as this molded piece, but I think it still will be acceptable. The car doesn't weigh much, so I'm thinking it's probably going to be pretty unlikely to break parts. But you can see how much compliance I sort of built into here, so I think it's going to actually improve the handling of the car a lot. So I haven't done it yet, but I intend to upload these parts, basically the center bulkhead, and then the 2 arms, and then the towers, to Shapeways, and then I'll make those available for you guys, for anybody who wants to upgrade their SC28, RC28, 28T, or MT. This should basically be a bolt-on job. Basically, you just undo these 2 screws here. There's 2 screws on the underside of the car. You would have to disassemble your steering knuckles here, and then basically just transfer all that over to this assembly here. It should bolt right on, and you should be good to go. So I'll do an update to this video when I have the thing available. I'm not sure if I'll just make them available on Shapeways or if I'll get everything together bundled up with the shocks and the screws and everything and sell that as a kit. So I'm not really sure how, but one way or another I'll make this available for anybody who wants to try and get a little bit more out of their little associated 1/28 scale car, or it should again go on the Exceed cars or anything. They're all basically the same car. So I'll do an update and let you guys know when that's available, and the price on the upgrade should be pretty low. I mean, these parts printed from Shapeways are going to be really cheap. I haven't priced them out yet, but as you can see, you know, they're really tiny, so I'm thinking, you know, it's going to be very cheap. Again, the two arms, the bulkhead, and the shock towers. So I'll post an update when they're available. Thanks for watching.